Hi there, this is Dean Packham. Thank you for joining me tonight on this webinar, and I'm hoping that you're going to find it very, very useful. I'm using a brand new piece of webinar software tonight. It works with Google+, so I'm hoping we're not going to have any kind of teething troubles. If there are any problems, there should be a chat box to the right of your screen, so you should be able just to type in something. So if you want to maybe just type in hi or something to let me know that you're actually getting this, and then obviously then hopefully I will know that I'm not just talking to thin air, that I'm talking to people properly. So if you can chat or if you can type in something, that would be helpful. As I said, if there's any issues with the actual webinar or you can't see it or anything like that, it is something new in terms of the software. There will be a copy on YouTube afterwards, and if it does turn out to be an absolute nightmare that you can't hear any of it or see any of it or anything else, I will do a recorded version straight afterwards and then put that onto YouTube for you to view later on. So, okay, so obviously you're here because, like me, you use LinkedIn, and you're also here probably because you've been told that LinkedIn can get you business. It can actually get you in front of the right kind of people. The question is how. So I thought, rather than just you looking at me, I'm hopefully going to try and do a screen share now, and I'm hoping this is going to show you my LinkedIn profile. So hopefully we can look through that. So this should actually be showing you the full screen. So I'm hoping you can see everything now. I'm going to minimize everything else apart from LinkedIn. So hopefully you can see my LinkedIn profile on the screen here, and you can see I've just clicked on refresh, and probably like your version of LinkedIn takes you straight to the home page. So really, where do we start with LinkedIn? Where do we start in terms of actually using LinkedIn for your business? What's the best way forward? Well, there's obviously various ways forward, but I'm going to start really just by talking through a few key points. Now, ultimately, the goal isn't to get onto LinkedIn. The goal is to get more business. That has to be the goal. And often what can happen is with social media marketing, it's almost like people are chucking money at various things without really thinking about why. We're told you need to have your website on Google page 1, but why do you need your website on Google page 1? It's going to be purely because we want more sales. So is the end goal to get your website onto Google page 1, or is it to get more sales for your business? And obviously we know the answer to that is to get more sales to your business. So just really wanted to start off just to kind of backtrack, and I got into using LinkedIn a lot purely because I'd realized that there's lots of ways you can try to market your business, but without a clear strategy or plan, it's not actually going to get very far. So 3 things really to start off with. Whether you use LinkedIn or if you use a different form of social media or marketing or anything else, there's 3 main principles. Your results will depend upon, firstly, how well you define what you do. So how well you understand what you can offer people. So often people on LinkedIn, they just basically dump their CV onto their LinkedIn profile, and it doesn't really give too much benefit to people looking at it. So actually, what do we do? Secondly, what can we offer? It's the benefits people are interested in, not the features of what we do. And thirdly, how well can we make contact with our prospects? So just some background really. Obviously, as most of you probably know, LinkedIn's got 200 million members worldwide. There's people on LinkedIn that are your customers. Whatever your business is, there's going to be several people on LinkedIn that are your customers. Now, LinkedIn helps us to be able to target these people quickly and effectively. So what I'm going to hopefully do today is give you some pointers in terms of how you can actually get your business targeted so that you're actually connecting with the right people. So it's actually making contact with the right people and also knowing what to actually say to those people as well. So I think as well, often people think of social media as being for business. I know of people that use Facebook for their business. I personally don't think it works very well because people don't want to be talking about their business on Facebook, whereas LinkedIn, people are using LinkedIn for business. They're happy to talk business. They're actually knowing that if you make contact with them, it will be about business. So I just wanted to start really just to backtrack, and I'm hoping you've got a pen and paper with you, or if not, if you can open up a Word document or a notepad or something like that, because I'd like you to write down some questions and actually just do some quick thought about how you can actually answer these questions, because the answers to these questions are absolutely crucial to your starting point on LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn, as you all know, we all have our own LinkedIn profile. I'm just going into mine now, and as you can see, I've had, I think, 274 profile views in the last 90 days. But the key point is, we all get given a LinkedIn profile. Now, most LinkedIn profiles are effectively somebody just putting down their job history, and that's all they do. Whereas really, your LinkedIn profile should read like some sales copy. It should actually show people what you're actually able to achieve and how you can help them. So, first question for you is, what does your target client look like? So, imagine that you're sitting in your office and you're working away. Somebody comes through the door, and this person is your ideal client, your ideal customer in every way. What does that person look like? Maybe not physically, but what kind of person are they? Are they a senior manager? Are they a customer looking for something to buy? What kind of needs do they have? What kind of age would they be? What kind of interest would they have, if any? What's the overall demographic of that person? Is there any gender or any age thing or anything like that? So your ideal target client, what do they look like? Next question. If this person came in and they sat down and it was quite obvious they wanted to buy from you, what would you actually say to them? What words would you use? For instance, if you're a mortgage broker, somebody comes in, they're looking to move house, what words would you use? What would you actually say to them? It probably sounds quite obvious to say that, but most of us haven't even thought about that. We know this kind of airy-fairy picture of what our customers look like, but we don't know any major detail of what these people look like. So actually giving some thought to it is very, very helpful. Okay, next question is, what benefits could you offer that person? What is it you do? Again, going back to the whole mortgage thing, I used to be a mortgage broker, so that's the reason for the parallel. And I knew that one of the things we used to do was when we sold a mortgage, we'd sell life cover with it as well. We'd sell a protection policy. And if you said to someone, would you like life cover? The answer is usually going to be no. Whereas if you ask a question like, what would happen to your family if you die prematurely? Suddenly you've got their interest. So effectively, what benefits would you offer? So, you know, the benefit of having a life cover policy is if you die, your family are not homeless. So just think about your own business. What kind of benefits do you offer to your customer? Next question, why would anybody want to do business with you? What is it that makes you different or better to anyone else? What's your unique selling proposition? I know this might sound like crazy questions, and it's obviously going to be, it's obviously a Sunday, not a Sunday evening, it's a Thursday evening, sorry, it's been a long week. So basically, what's the story there? If you think about it, what is your unique selling proposition? So hopefully with these questions, if you can write down some answers, you might want to do it now, or you might want to do it later on, but the answers to your question will form the basis of what your LinkedIn profile looks like, which is very, very important. You saw from the previous screen, and let's just go back again, my own personal LinkedIn profile. I've had 270 people have viewed me over the last 90 days. So that's about an average of 3 people a day. Now, if 3 people per day have been viewing my LinkedIn profile, what have they been seeing? Have they been seeing anything useful, or have they just seen my CV? Have they seen something that's actually going to benefit them, something that's going to grab them? Because my LinkedIn profile is effectively my shop front. And if it's not painting the right picture, if it's not putting over the right message, then there will be issues there. Okay? So if you think about that, just think about this. So obviously think of your target client, for instance. What kind of industry are they in? So for instance, if you're an accountant, are you targeting small businesses? Are you targeting solicitors who may have referrals? Are you targeting mortgage brokers who might also be able to refer people over to you? If you're an accountant, for instance, what do your customers look like? Are you dealing with people from the public? Are you dealing with corporations? Are you dealing with small businesses? Just think more clearly what your target group is. I know it's easy for us to say, well, it's anybody who will deal with me. But if you can actually focus it down a bit more and actually decide what your target client looks like in slightly more detail, and just think of that, and that can be added to your LinkedIn profile, so that when your ideal client reads your profile, and obviously hopefully you're going to have something like mine with 274 people or so reading or viewing your profile. Mine currently is averaging about 3 people a day. Yours could be more than that, could be less than that. The point is, everybody that looks at your profile, what kind of message do they get? What does your profile say about you, about how you can help other people? Okay. And obviously, what kind of benefits can you offer? Why would anybody want to do business with you? What is it that you've got that's different from anybody else? Okay, so I'm just going to take you through my LinkedIn profile. Not that it's any great shakes, but hopefully you can have a look at it later on, or you can. It's really just to give you some kind of ideas or some things to think about, really. So if you can just bear with me, because it's loading up, it shouldn't take too much longer. Right, okay, so what I've done, and you don't have to do this, but it's just something that I've done personally. I've just made it more like sales copy than I have the CV. So who am I? I'm an internet marketing consultant, which in English means I help businesses to generate more business online and offline as well. I help to connect buyers with sellers across a range of industries, and obviously ranging from different kinds of industries. So hopefully when somebody sees that, they know straight away that I'm not somebody that just does LinkedIn. I'm somebody that actually connects buyers with sellers, because that's something that every single business needs. And that I've got a fairly wide range of types of companies that I've worked with before. The help that I provide ranges from getting a message in front of thousands of targeted prospects to finding reliable buyers and sellers to connect with each other. And then I've said that I'm happy to connect with anybody on LinkedIn. I will tell you why that's the case later on, but for now that's the case. I will connect with anybody, whether I know them personally or don't know them, and obviously I'll go into detail as to why that is later on. How can I help you? I'll show you how to use LinkedIn to sell your products and services, generate unlimited quality leads, find you the right business partners, drive a lot of traffic to your website or your LinkedIn profile, build your contact and prospect lists, and position you as an expert in your field. I'll connect you, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go through all this. You can have a look at that in your own time. The point is, though, I've tried to make it focused upon how I can help somebody. So anybody reading my LinkedIn profile will hopefully straight away know whether I can help them or not, rather than just reading through this history of my life, which probably isn't quite so relevant for them. Okay, and obviously then I've just gone into some other details in terms of my most recent position, what I've been doing for the last 3 to 4 years, and some background about me. Okay, so each of the points that you're looking at. So effectively, your LinkedIn profile is your shop front. It needs to tell your potential customers what you can do for them. It also needs to be optimized properly. Now, what does that mean? It means you've got to have keywords in it, so that when people search for you, as they tend to do with people search up here. People tend to search on a certain word. So, you know, for instance, as I said earlier on, I just type in the word mortgage, click on search, who comes up top? So whichever person or people come up top, they are more likely to have people viewing their profile. So obviously this lady here, for instance, in my group of contacts, is the most likely person to be seen first of all. Okay, so your LinkedIn profile needs to be optimized properly. I'll show you later on how to actually do that, or at least to make it much better than it possibly currently is. And also the other thing is you need to make sure that certain things are actually completed on your LinkedIn profile. So let me just go through some other things on the homepage first of all, and then I'm just going to talk you through how your LinkedIn profile should look, or some key things to think about, and then hopefully that will at least help you to move forward a bit more. So I just want to go through just so that you can understand how LinkedIn works, because many people know aspects of LinkedIn. I don't know all of it. There's lots that I don't know, but here's some key things that might be relevant. In fact, they are very relevant. Okay, so this is my home page. You can see I'm heading down to the bottom of the page, and it says 5 people have viewed my profile in the past day, which is great. And it tells me my ranking on profile views in the past 30 days, which is excellent. Now, the key thing I was wanting to show you was this. It says I've got 7,983 people in my group of connections. Okay, so that's fine. And it tells me that I've got professionals in my network, 25,165,516. Now, what does that actually mean? That means on LinkedIn, and we know there's about 250 million people on LinkedIn, it means because of these first-line connections who connect out to second-line connections, who connect out to third-line connections, it means 25 million people can see me, and I can see 25 million people. Now that sounds great, but bearing in mind that LinkedIn's got over 250 million, it means only 10% of the LinkedIn population can actually see me, and I can only see 10% of the LinkedIn population. So whatever efforts I make to market my business or to do anything else, at the moment I'm only ever going to reach a maximum of 10% of LinkedIn people. So basically one of the things we need to do is we need to get this up a bit. We need to look at some way to actually make that figure bigger and bigger in terms of adding people to that. But I'm just going to jump back to the LinkedIn profile for now, just some key things for you to think about. So if you've done this, wonderful. If you haven't done this, either give it some thought now, or hopefully when the recorded version of this webinar comes out, hopefully you can watch it again and make some changes. Just sit down for an hour or so, half an hour, and just actually make these changes, because they'll make some big differences to you. There are people on LinkedIn who create and optimize LinkedIn profiles. I've done it previously for people. In terms of cost of it, people are often charging 150 to 200 pounds to actually do that. Sometimes they're charging more than that. But you can probably do most of it yourself if you just spend some time. So the first thing is it's your professional headline. So this section here, don't just put your job title in. Don't just put accountant, mortgage broker, solicitor. Think of a strapline. Imagine you're just releasing a brand new movie and you've got to come up with some kind of strapline that encompasses exactly what you do. So I've put down B2B internet marketing consultant specializing in LinkedIn, connecting buyers with sellers. Now hopefully that tells people, hopefully, what I do and how I can possibly help them. So give some thought to how you can position yourself. What is it, not just that you do, but how can you help people? What kind of benefits can you give or add to people? Second thing is make sure you've got a photo. Make sure that you do have a picture. If you have no picture at all, it sounds obvious this, but people won't necessarily want to make contact with you because they might not trust you. It's all about trust, isn't it? If you've got a picture, subconsciously you feel like that you know that person, or that you can start to work out who they are. The next one is your LinkedIn URL. Now I'm just going to click on edit here. We all get a kind of default URL to start with, but you can customize it, you can change it. So what I've done is I've changed mine to Dean Packham as opposed to 12345 or whatever number we had previously. The simple reason for that is, obviously then it's something people can actually, it's almost searchable. It's something you can put on your business cards. It's much more searchable and much more personal. So if your name is John Smith, you may have difficulties, but even with that you could possibly put your middle name as well, but just make it something personal. Change it to something that suits you. Okay. In terms of your summary, I've been through this previously, so I won't go through it too much more, but just again, think of sales copy. You are the product that you're selling. What can you say to people? What would you say to your ideal client if they walk through the door? These are internet-based clients that are walking past your LinkedIn profile every day. What are they going to see? What kind of advertising for you and your business will they see on your LinkedIn profile? And obviously part of what we're going to do is show you how to get more people viewing your profile, but before we do that, we want to make sure that your profile actually reads something useful. So obviously this can be changed, but I'm hoping that what I've written will give people an idea of how I can help them. So give some thought to how you can actually help others as well. Okay, something that's also very important is if somebody's looking at my LinkedIn profile, they don't know me at all, or if I'm looking at someone else's LinkedIn profile, it's very important to have recommendations from other people. It's very important to know that there are people out there that I've worked with previously that will actually vouch for me, that will say, yeah, Dean done some work for us. So if you, where is it? Here we are, we've got 14 people who recommended me. So if your profile doesn't have many people on it that you've recommended or that have recommended you, get into contact with those people now and just say to them, please could you take 2 minutes just to recommend me. Something that I've done previously as a bit of a dangled carrot is I've offered to help somebody. I've given them a free review of their LinkedIn profile, or helped them with a web design review, something like that. So something that's taken me an hour, maybe 2 hours of my time for free, and they've recommended me on that basis, on the basis that it's the start of a business relationship, so that actually when people look at my LinkedIn profile, they can see that there's actual people they can contact and talk to and find out more about me, so that they can see my profile, they can see my picture, they can read what I've written about me, about my business. I've written some personal details here, things that interest me, my family situation, etc., etc. So hopefully people paint some kind of picture of me, and as we all know, people buy from people. So hopefully that's going to help you in terms of actually getting people, once they do view your profile, to actually see you in a more positive light. And obviously, as I've said previously, don't just dump your CV, don't just dump down your resume. Try to make it a bit interesting. Try to focus on projects that you've done, what kind of benefits you've brought, so that people can actually see that. Okay. Right. So what we're looking for really is we're looking for a profile that's got all these bases covered. And if you have that, that is going to be like rocket fuel to your optimization on LinkedIn, so that when people are searching for you or somebody like you, your profile is more likely to come up. Now, something that you can do to really help out is you can optimize it yourself to a certain level. If you go to Google, just literally type in Google keyword tool. And what that does, I'm sure some of you have used it before. Here we go. It just gives you the option to effectively think of some other words for the words you would use. So if you've got certain words that sum up your job and your situation, going into a keyword tool will actually allow you to come up with some similar words for the same thing, because the chances are that people might not be searching just on one word. They could be using several words. So for instance, if you do web design, they might not just be searching for the words web design, they might be searching for other words as well. And a Google keyword tool will actually allow you to see what those are. Okay, right. So hopefully we have this formula of exposure plus conversion equals success. So making sure that you've got some kind of call to action on your LinkedIn profile. Okay, if you can see mine here, I'm actually inviting people to connect. I'm also trying to make sure that I've got my contact details in as much as I possibly can, because I actually want people to contact me. I don't want to have a situation where people can't contact me. I want people to email me, I want people to phone me, I want people to Skype me. I want people to actually be able to contact me. Okay, so that's the process there. So hopefully that does make sense. If there's any questions, please contact me afterwards. You can get hold of me either by email or on Skype. Front Page Solutions is my Skype name. You can contact me. I'm quite happy to try and help out if I can at all. Now, the next stage, I mentioned previously about getting hold of connections. And I think from my LinkedIn profile, you saw I had about 7,983 connections from memory. Now, the question is, what matters the most? Is it about getting quality connections or quantity connections? Well, the answer is actually both. You need both. You need quantity connections to boost this figure. If you've got more people from all around the world, this figure will go up, because then it opens up to their connections and their connections. But you also want quality connections, not just people within your own industry, but possible customers as well. So I'm just going to show you a very simple way to get hold of loads of connections without getting into trouble and without being told that you're spamming people. So there's a website called www.toplinked.com, and it's one of these freemium sites where it's free to use, but if you want to get your name added to it, then it will cost you a figure per month. So I'm just going to log into the free version of it. I've signed up previously. You can just sign up for free, and there's a tab that says Build Your Networks, and then down the bottom it says, as a free member you can only download and use the Invite Me list. Now, everybody on these lists is someone that said, yes please, I want to connect as an open networker on LinkedIn. So every single person on this list has said, if you connect with me, I won't say that you're spamming me, I will happily connect with you. So this is actually a very good way to connect with people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight, usually there's about 200 names per spreadsheet, so I wouldn't suggest that you contact thousands of people every day, but maybe 200 or 400 people per week is a good start. So as you can see, I've just copied this list now. I'm going to go into LinkedIn, and if you go to the top of the screen, click on Connections, Add Connections. Now obviously, if you note, by the way, my total number of connections was 7,983. Okay, so I'm just going to make a note of that number so that we know that. The simple reason is that number should go up by the time this webinar's finished. So we've gone into Connections, Add Connections. If you click on any email and invite by individual email, click there, and you just paste in the 200 names that we had. Send invitation, boom. Now that goes out to 200 people that have already said they are happy to connect on LinkedIn. So I'm expecting by the end of this webinar for the figure of 7983 to have gone up. So effectively that helps us around the situation of adding quantity of connections. Now, you know, obviously more people that we have, the more networks that opens up to us, and the more people ultimately will be able to see us on LinkedIn. So obviously if you you know, contact 10 people and they've all got 10 contacts, they've got 10 contacts, you can access 1,000 people. If you contact 100 people and they've got 100 contacts, they've got 100 contacts, that's 1 million people. So straight away you could rapidly increase the number of people that you make contact with. Okay, so as I said, I would probably suggest you could maybe do that twice per week. I wouldn't do it too much more, but that's one of the ways that I've built this figure up to nearly 8,000 connections. Now obviously the other side to it is that you do need to have quality connections as well. So if you think back to the kind of people you want to make contact with, and say, well, okay, let's go back to the scenario of the accountant. So let's say that you're an accountant and you want to make direct contact with small business owners. Okay, so click on People tab here, and then click on the Advanced tab just here, and then this takes us into a search where we can access different people. So we can search for people on certain keywords. So let's say that I'm looking for business owners. The area that I'm in is close to Brighton. So let's say that I'm looking for business owners. So I might want to type in the keyword owner, and I'm going to put in my postcode. And I'm going to ask just for people within a 25-mile radius, my area. Click on search, and that will then bring up, hopefully, some people. Right, so all these people here, you can see the keyword owner, owner. All these people are owners of businesses. So if I was an accountant and I was looking for small business owners to approach, these would be the kind of people that I could start with. So you can start with something that's simple. Let's say that not every business owner calls themselves an owner. Some of them call themselves an MD, some of them call themselves CEO, some of them call themselves a director. So if you put the word or, it will find any cases where there is owner or there's MD or there's CEO. Obviously putting in the word and, they would have to be an owner and MD. So you want or rather than and there. So if we now click on search again, this will bring up a list of people that I can make contact with. So yeah, this has brought up a much bigger list. I would probably want to narrow that down a bit as well. But the point is, there's a list of people that I could potentially contact, and I can always narrow this down to people that are based in the Brighton area. But that's the way that you would actually make contact with quality links, quality connections. So if you decided to do maybe 10 people a day, that's 50 people a week, that's 200 new contacts per month, assuming they all say yes, and there's no reason why they shouldn't do. That's 200 potential new customers or contacts you can make contact with every single month if you only do 10 per day. Now let's say we have a situation, for instance, let's say this guy Mike here. As you can see, I'm not connected with him currently. So if I click on connect, oh, sorry, it has sent an invite to him. I was going to just look really to see whether I'm currently connected with him or not. So obviously I'm not currently connected with him. If you have a situation where there's someone that you're not connected to and you want to contact them, you can either use one of your premium credits to make contact, but there's also a very similar way, or there's a very simple way that you can get into contact with virtually anybody on LinkedIn. So let's go for this guy here. Okay, I'm just going to click on his profile, and At the moment, it's not looking like I'm going to be able to connect with him. I'll have to send him an email. So is there a way that I can get into contact with this guy without having to be a premium customer? The short answer is yes. What we're going to do is we're going to look and see what groups he's in. So if you go down his profile, it should tell us which groups he's in. So he's in a series of groups here. Now, either if he's in a group that I'm in, I can contact him through the group, or if he isn't in a group I'm in, I would then join one of those groups. So basically, the way this works is you can make contact with anybody through a group. Let me give you an example of a group that I'm currently in. So this is something somebody taught me a long time, and I think this has probably added literally thousands of pounds to my bottom line just by knowing this one bit of information alone. So let's say that there's somebody that I can't connect with, but I find that they're in the same group I'm in, or I've since joined a group and we're both in the same group. I will then search for their name. So click on members, and hopefully that will come up. Oops, sorry about that, it's gone all funny. Okay, so I can now individually message anybody in this group. So if I want to contact this guy, I can do so. So whether these people are connections or not, I can contact them. So I can say, well, actually, wonderful, there's a Brighton group here. I want to contact anybody who's a CEO or anybody who's a business owner or anything like that. I can actually make contact with these people directly through this group. And this group's got 7,200 members. As you probably know, there's loads of other groups with more members. So let's say I'm looking for someone who's an MD or a CEO in the Brighton group. So I've just clicked on enter. Sorry, it's a little bit slow tonight. It's probably because there's a few people on the webinar at the moment. Okay, so this now gives me access to all these people, and I can now contact any one of these people. There's a list of 404 people. I can contact any or all of these people straight away, and obviously ask them if they want to connect, ask them if they want to meet up for coffee as we're close by, all kinds of options. So not only have we hopefully got some quantity connections, we've also picked up some quality connections as well. Okay, so that's the situation with connections. It's relatively straightforward to actually get connections. It's just one of those things where you've got to work on it. You've just got to consistently make contact with people. Okay. So I'm just going to go back to the home page and see if there's been any change on the number of connections that I've got. I think the figure was 7983. Let's see if anybody's responded yet. Yep, 7987. So I've added 4 more connections just in the last 10 minutes or so. And obviously this figure would have gone up slightly as well. So it's a very simple way of actually building up your group of connections. On LinkedIn as well, if you have 500 plus connections, you're seen as a major player. So that helps in terms of optimizing everything as well. So if you've got less than 500 connections, if you can get out to 500 plus, LinkedIn doesn't tell you how many people you've got beyond 500. So you could have 500 or you could have 5,000, but people won't know that. Okay, so people still see you as someone who's got more than 500 connections. Right. Okay. So hopefully you've all had some time to think about the questions that I've mentioned about your profiles. I'm just going to go back here. Are you guys able to actually access the group chat? Can somebody type in something so I can see if you can access it? I do apologise if there are issues with it. As I said, this is brand new webinar software, and I'm really hoping you're able to make contact with me, but if you're not, then I'm sorry. Hopefully we can catch up on Skype afterwards, or via email, or even phone me if you need to. I was kind of hoping we could actually do something on that basis. Okay, right. Just something I was wanting to mention with you as well. So this is something practical. I was wanting to show you is that obviously there's various ways on LinkedIn to actually make contact with people. The key thing though isn't so much making contact with people, because hopefully you've learned how to do that. It's what do you say to people once you've actually made contact with them. And I just wanted to share some stuff with you in terms of how I personally find things work. Now, this basically started quite some while ago because I was involved with SEO, and obviously trying to get people's websites onto page 1 of Google. And many customers are effectively spending money on SEO. They're spending money on getting their website to the top of Google, sometimes paying several £100s per month just to get their website moved up the Google rankings, and being told it's going to take a good 6 months or so to actually move your website up. So often people are parting with £3,000 plus with no guarantee of any business from that point. All that would happen is hopefully the traffic would go up on their website, but there will be no guarantee of any sales beyond that point, and it will be potentially a massive waste of cash for them to actually spend on it. So I started thinking, I thought, are there other ways that people can actually get into contact with their potential customers much more quickly, much more effectively, and much cheaper way? So this is one of the strategies that I came up with. Now, effectively, most people are happy with two main things. One is they're happy to give their opinion on things. I've never met anybody yet that has not been willing to tell me what they think about something. I think most of us are quite happy to give their opinion on things. And also, if you're offering something for free, then again, that's something where people are quite happy to actually have a chat with you on that basis. Now, the key to actually getting leads, making contact with people on LinkedIn is through the groups. So I'm sure you've all seen this before. I'm just going to go through it now at the moment. Now, as you probably know, on LinkedIn, you can be part of 50 groups. So you can be part of up to 50 groups. And most people are in groups with similar business people in that group. So, for instance, IT people are in the same group as IT people, web designers are in the same group as web designers, accountants in the same group as accountants, and all they talk about is their own subject. Now, it's kind of like fishing. You've actually got to get yourself into the right water in order to catch the right fish. So basically, if you can join a group or groups of your target market, that is much greater value for your business. So if you click on the top line here and click on groups, let's say that my target market is going to be accountants. Let's say that I'm trying to market accountants, or I'm trying to make contact with accountants. So you just go into the top line, type in accountants, and you start searching for groups of accountants. So the key is that we're going to be looking to join groups of accountants. So we're joining groups of our target market as opposed to joining groups of peers or people that do something similar to us. So obviously there's a series of open groups, there's a series of closed groups. You can narrow the search down a bit. But actually by spending some time and choosing, making sure that you're in the correct groups is going to bring much greater benefit later on. So let's look at this here. So let's say, for instance, I was looking to target accountants in Britain. I would want to look for a group that's full of accountants in Britain. I'm not going to go through this now, but the point is I would look through there. You know, for instance, this one looks like it could be a group that's worth joining. It's got over 11,000 members. So you look at joining that group. Now, So basically, then you have your groups, and most of these groups will be groups of your target market. What do you do then? Now, this is something you can try, and you can try it tomorrow if you like. It shouldn't take long. It shouldn't take more than 20 minutes, half an hour or so. And it's something that you can do most days if you like to. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to go into, what group should I go into? Okay, I'm going to go into this one, which is Hampshire. I think Hampshire local business people. So I'm going to go into this group, and you can do this for your business straight away. I'm sorry, this is running slowly. It was all fine earlier on, but as is often the case when you're live, it all changes. So let's try and get into this group again. We'll see what we can do. Okay. So straight away, I know this group is in Hampshire, which for those of you that aren't local to the Brighton area is not far. It's about an hour's drive from where I live. There's over 4,000 members in this group, and I can just click on members, and even if I don't search on job titles, whether they're CEOs, whether they're directors, I can just literally click on members. It should come up with all members. I'm not sure why that didn't, but let's try again. That's the way, isn't it? Let's just click back here and then click back in again. I'm sorry about this. It's not happening. Let's just try it. Okay, it might be. Right, okay. So straight away, the way LinkedIn ranks this is they rank people closest to you. So obviously I'm coming up top because I'm me, and then it's people that are connected most closely to me. So if I want to make contact with people that I may have had contact with before, I can do that by making contact with these people. If I feel like taking a completely different approach and contact people that I've not spoken to before, this shows the first 500 members of this group. So you can access up to 500 members of the group straight through, or if you choose to actually search, you can individually make contact with people. So let's say that I'm not too keen on talking to people I've spoken to before. I just want to approach some total strangers. How do you approach a total stranger without them feeling that you're spamming them? Well, there's a very good way of actually doing that. So let's say, okay, so these people are quite far removed from me. So let's start with this guy. He's 500th on my list. I've never spoken to him before. What can I do to make contact with this guy? So straight away, click on send message, and I can just think of some kind of title. Would you like some help? Or something similar. You know, obviously I'm just thinking of this as I go. Here's the key thing. Hi Alice. Now, the first thing to do, and I've done this many times, I've sent tens of thousands of messages to different people in different groups for my own business and for my client's business. I think I've only had about 2 or 3 people that haven't been happy with it, which is quite staggering when you consider the number of contacts. So here's what you do. You say, hi Alice, I am a, or an, and I'm going to put that I'm an internet marketing consultant. So you would put your own title. You would say, I'm an accountant, I'm a mortgage broker, I'm a solicitor, I'm a web designer, whatever your job is. So you mention that, so that straight away they might think, oh, that's interesting. And a fellow member of the, I think it's the Hampshire group, we'll call it that, on LinkedIn. Obviously, make sure you've got the actual group name. I'll just double check it, Hampshire Business Community. So, I'm a fellow member of the Hampshire Business Community on LinkedIn. Now, have you ever met somebody before and you find you've got something in common with them? Let's say that you're into football and you're at work one day, a client walks through the door and they support the same football team as you. What's your response? Well, naturally, both of you are going to look for some way to work together because you have a sense of affiliation, a sense that you're both connected somehow. The same principle's true here. You might, because you're a member of a group, as this guy is, so we're both members of this same group, even though I've never met him and he's never met me, subconsciously it's extremely likely that he will feel a sense that he's affiliated with me, and there will be something in him that wants to actually work with me or be sympathetic to what I'm saying, as opposed to thinking, uh-oh, you've just spammed me. Now clearly this isn't spam, but sometimes people might see it as spam if it isn't personal at all, if it's just purely this set message that goes out to everybody. I get emails sometimes from people on LinkedIn and it's just basically details of what they do, web design, or we design leaflets, or we do this, we do that, and there's nothing personal in it at all, and I just delete it. And I think it's the same thing usually that people would usually do that. Now, if you do something like this, I'm an internet marketing consultant and a fellow member of the Hampshire Business Community Group on LinkedIn. So, full stop. So straight away, if this guy reads this, it's likely that he'll think, oh, okay, yeah. So he'll possibly click on my LinkedIn profile. He'll want to get some further details. It's helpful for there to be a picture so he can get some kind of, some kind of image of me in terms of what I look like. That will help the process. He can read through my LinkedIn profile. He can see people that I've worked with before. He can look at what I do and how I could potentially help him. So all these things are ways you can get to potential customers before you've actually done anything. You can't do that with SEO. All you can do is get people to your website, and if your website's rubbish, if there's nothing on it that's interactive, if it doesn't draw people to purchase from you, you've just wasted the effort. This way you can actually make contact with real people. LinkedIn just literally opens doors. I always say to people, don't just make contact on LinkedIn. Once you've made contact, try to get the contact offline as quickly as possible. Try and meet them, try and phone them, do something other than email them so that they can actually see you as a real person. So, okay, going back here, I'm an internet marketing consultant, a fellow member of the Hampshire Business Community Group on LinkedIn. And I'm just going to put down, I am offering a free review of your online marketing, excuse my spelling, and I wonder if you would be interested. And I'll just put regards thing. Now obviously you can word this slightly differently. It's worth looking at what you're offering. The key things here, twofold. First of all is that I've made contact with a potential customer in my area or close by. I've been able to contact him directly without having to go to the premium version of LinkedIn, send emails. I can let him know straight away what I do. I can also make some kind of process that I'm linked or affiliated with him in some shape or form in terms of being part of this group here. And I'm offering to help him. I'm offering him a free review of his online marketing and wonder if he's interested. Now, if you got this message through, what would be your response? It would probably be fairly favourable. You might not be interested in it because your online marketing didn't need help with it, but you wouldn't be offended by receiving something like that. So in effect, you could just fill in the blanks for your own business. I am a ... So put down your job title, fellow member of the blank 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 group on LinkedIn. How can you help people? Can you offer some kind of free review of something? I think most of us can. If you're training people, you can look at their training needs. If you're offering financial products, you can review their existing products, a mortgage or a pension. If you're an accountant, you can look at how you can save them money. There's most businesses can offer a free review of something for potential customers. So, okay, I'm not going to send that. I'm going to cancel that. Now, let's say that I did that. And sorry, prior to actually sending that message, you would just copy and paste copy the text to this. So just highlight and copy the text. After the message has gone to the first person, you just go to the next person on the list, same title, paste in here, edit the name, send. Now, you could probably send 20 to 30 messages in 20 minutes or so. It shouldn't take long. And straight away, what you've done is you've made contact with 20 to 30 potential customers. We've already scoped these people out. We know that they're in your area, they're in your business customer base. They are potential customers already. If you want to take it further down to find out whether MDs or CEOs or anything like that, you can do that here. All these things have been done. All we're doing now is we're making some basic contact with these people. And if you do 20 a day, that's 100 a week, that's 400 a month. Let's say that you consistently do it every morning, or you get somebody to actually do it. What kind of responses do you think you'll get? Do you think you'll possibly get talking to people? Now, personally, the answer to this question is yes. If you do the targeting properly, the key thing is to make sure that you've done all the donkey work beforehand. You're going to make sure that your profile covers the things that I've mentioned previously. Is it covering everything? You know, the points that I've mentioned previously. I'm just going to check again, sorry. I'm just being curious to see if there's any more connections been added. That figure, that number was 7893, wasn't it? What have we got now? I'm just going to see if we've added any more connections. Yeah, 7989. So we've only added 6, which is better than nothing. But my profile views are on 5 earlier on. So 4 people have viewed my profile since we've been doing this webinar. I know it's probably to do with the fact that we sent out those invites. And I suppose it's possible some of these people might be you. You might be on here, and you might be looking at your own picture on this webinar. So hopefully that gives you some kind of some things to get started with. So to summarize, your LinkedIn profile. And again, I'm quite happy to help you with this. If you want to contact me, I'm really, really happy to give you some pointers on this basis. As I said, I have done this previously for people and spent quite some time and charged them a fee for it. But to be honest with you, you can probably get your profile into pretty good shape just by spending some time on it yourself. And I can give you some pointers. I can give you some ideas on how to actually do that. In terms of making contact with your key customers, again, we've gone through how to add connections. So we're going into connections, we're adding connections from top linked. So we literally, there's 9 lists here with 200 names each. So in effect, there's 1,800 people you could contact straight away to actually add. I would personally not do that too much because I think LinkedIn might not like it, but I think if you contact maybe 200 to 400 people per week, and just literally drop in those names here, send off the invites, you will start to get people being added to that, and your overall connections will start to boost up. So you will go from your current figure, you will go higher and higher and higher, and the key thing also is that this number here will start to go up, which makes you much more visible on LinkedIn as well. In terms of making contact with targeted connections, again, you can either do that through people search here. You can contact people through groups if you're looking for certain types of people to connect with. You can actually look in the groups. You can search for certain people or certain job titles or certain keywords. The options are literally endless, and this is all simple stuff. This is all stuff that anybody can do. I think the reality is most of us are just far too busy. We're running around doing certain jobs but not actually doing this. You've possibly got a business where you're spending hundreds of pounds or dollars every month on SEO, on Facebook, on social media, on email marketing, and it's not necessarily bringing in any kind of benefit to you because it's not necessarily carefully thought out. Something like this is extremely simple, and you know, there's over 250 million people potentially. Not all of them will be your customers, but there's certainly a good proportion of people that will be your customers. So, you know, for instance, in this group, you can either search on a keyword, you can contact people in this group. You literally can build your connections quite easily. And as I've said, I'm just going to go to the homepage here because something that I found really cool recently is if you post an update, it's effectively you can write your own articles. And I've written a few articles which you might find useful. And I've just posted them here. It says posts. And I was going to mention what I've just shared with you is in this article here. Get in front of your customers in 60 minutes. That's effectively what I've just said to you. This has been there since July the 10th. 813 people have viewed it, which is great. If you want to actually view that again yourself, if you didn't get everything down, that hopefully gives you some idea of how to do that. That is absolutely simple. You literally can spend 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes a day. If you consistently do it day by day by day, if you contact the people, if you make sure that you're saying the right things to these people, you will get leads. You will make contact with customers day by day by day by day. You will make contact with people. That's all there. Even the text of it here. Hi, name, fellow member of group, would like to offer you a free review of blank. Let me know if you're interested. Boom. Send it off. And you should start seeing people coming in on that basis. So that's pretty much all I was wanting to cover today. Again, I am sorry if you can't ask questions on this. It really is a pain, but if you've got any questions you want to ask me, maybe send me an email or phone me, something like that. I'm quite happy to try and help out if I can. Also, by now you should have received an email which will hopefully take you to an Eventbrite page, which I'm going to go to now. As you know, this webinar is free, but the next webinar that I'm doing is, as I'm going into much more detail in terms of actual workable strategies, I basically made it a paid webinar because of the fact that what I'm teaching here is effectively the same thing that I teach on a course, and the course costs £100 for 3.5 hours, so you're getting all that within the first 2 webinars. So effectively what I've created is, and you should have an email by now with this link. If you opted for the free webinar here, and you've only got the free options, so you get this first webinar, there will be a charge for the next webinar. So as I said, the next webinar goes into much more detail in terms of actual strategies, how to actually move forward. So what I've done, as I said, you will have this link, but I have created some more webinars. The next webinar is going to be in 2 weeks' time, 4th of September, and it's going to be all about how you can generate leads for your business using SurveyMonkey and LinkedIn. Let me just quickly show you my SurveyMonkey account, and obviously we'll kind of fill in the gaps later on, but I just wanted to show you some of the things we've been doing. So for instance, LinkedIn workshop. This was all about trying to do a LinkedIn workshop in my area. I sent out messages to about 400 people on LinkedIn, got 39 responses, which is pretty good. It's about a 10% response rate, and that generated a series of leads, which I'll show you further down. So the next webinar is going to be all about, detail by detail, how that happened. How did that survey get created? How did it get sent out? How did we get these leads, all these people to actually follow up upon? Some of them aren't actually leads, they're just people that make comments, but you can see there's a lot of contact details here of different people that have asked me to contact them, or people that are interested in that course. Now, there's no reason why you can't do that for your own business. It's just really about thinking through how your business works, kind of questions you can ask people, and how you can distribute that through LinkedIn. So the next webinar is going to be covering all about that, and there's no PowerPoint, no artificial screenshots, just actual screenshots as I'm showing you here, so that you can see that the whole thing works. Okay. So that's the first webinar. I'm also doing a webinar, it's going to be about 3 weeks after that, again showing you how to generate leads and sales for your business using LinkedIn and Eventbrite together. I did some work for a local company fairly recently where we got people to a digital marketing day. I'm going to show you how that happened, how we managed to get people paying £80 per ticket to actually get to that event. And then generate leads in any location or business section or sector using LinkedIn groups. Much more detail about how that works. Next one about how to create a responsive email marketing list. Again, how to actually create email lists. Again, I'm just going to take you into this very, very quickly. This is my email marketing account. So you can see here, total number of subscribers 305. That's in 2 weeks. So I'm going to show you how that happened, and obviously how you can do something similar for your own business. As I said, this first webinar is for free, which is great. There will be a cost if you choose to go for the next webinar. The cost will be £29.99. If you've already paid, excellent, you'll be on that webinar anyway. If you've just had the free webinar, that will be the cost there, which is wonderful value, because just some of those concepts will make your business bring in many, many more leads after that point. If you choose to go for the next webinar plus the one after that, which is the Eventbrite one, you can purchase tickets for the two of them, £39.99. Or if you want to purchase tickets for the next 5 webinars coming up, £59.99. So just go to the link, order now, and hopefully we can get that sorted. So thank you very much for your time. I'll be talking to some of you again in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully by then I will have sorted out the webinar software, so you will actually be able to answer questions rather than not, and hopefully things can work slightly smoother. So this webinar should be online within the next few minutes or so. You'll get an email telling you that's the case. This figure is now gone up to 7991. So thank you very much for your time. I'm going to end the broadcast now, and I hope to speak to you again soon. Thank you very much. Goodbye.